We need to understand human nature better. The only real danger that we face in the world is man himself, which is why psychology is so important. Have you ever considered that you might not be the person you believe you are? Your thoughts, choices, and even your deepest desires may not truly be your own. There is a hidden, silent, and dark force within you. This internal force has been secretly guiding your entire life without you even noticing its constant presence. This is not just some wild conspiracy theory. It is a fundamental concept in the field of psychology, which seeks to explain our hidden motivations and actions. To understand what happens inside your mind, you must know Carl Jung. He was a key figure who explored the hidden depths of the human psyche. Are you tired of making the same mistakes over and over? Do you find yourself sabotaging your own relationships, or feeling like something is holding you back? Perhaps the problem is your inner shadow. It could also be the archetypes or the collective unconscious that are trying to get your full attention right now. Why should you care about these strange-sounding concepts? Ignoring these parts of your mind is like walking through a dangerous minefield, completely blindfolded and unprepared. If you ignore them, you will get hurt. You will repeat the same destructive patterns and continue to suffer, calling it bad luck when it is not. Carl Jung was more than a psychologist. He was a brave explorer of the human soul, mapping the most hidden corners of the mind that no one else dared to venture into. What he discovered can completely change everything you think you know about yourself. This is not just a summary of his life. It is a mirror. Be warned, once you truly understand Jung's ideas, there is no going back. You will start to see things about yourself and others that were previously invisible. You will finally recognize the monsters that live inside you. And you may realize for the first time that the greatest enemy has always been within you. The good news is that this enemy can become your greatest ally. However, this transformation is only possible if you have the courage to face your inner self. Carl Jung was no ordinary psychologist. He was not simply interested in curing symptoms or helping people adjust to what he saw as a sick society. He wanted to go much deeper to truly understand the human soul. Jung had the courage to look into the abyss of the psyche and dive in. Born in Switzerland in 1875, Jung grew up around religious symbolism. This mysterious environment made him feel there was more to life than just logic. He became Sigmund Freud's most brilliant student. However, he would also become the one who dared to challenge Freud's core ideas about the human mind. Freud believed everything revolved around repressed sexual desire. But Jung saw something much deeper and more complex, involving myths, symbols, and ancient collective forces. Because of these different views, the break between the two thinkers was inevitable. Jung wanted to restore humanity's lost connection with its essential nature, not just treat illness. He saw the psyche as a dynamic system full of opposing tensions. These included light and shadow, reason and emotion, and the masculine and the feminine. For Jung, suffering was not a mistake. Instead, he believed that suffering was actually a call from our inner selves, urging us to transform and grow. He created analytical psychology to integrate our hidden parts. For Jung, the real enemy was not suffering itself, but rather our own deep-seated unconsciousness. His ideas still matter because society remains sick. We are still trapped in destructive patterns, and we continue to ignore our most difficult and painful emotions. Jung offered a map to our inner world. He revealed a disturbing truth. There is a layer of the mind that is shared by all of humanity. We will now dive into this mysterious place Jung called the collective unconscious. You will realize that there are many other people living inside of you. Most people think their feelings and fears are uniquely their own. They believe their mind is shaped only by their personal experiences, memories, and their culture. Carl Jung challenged this common idea. He revealed a deeper, more powerful layer of the psyche that does not belong to you, yet it still governs you. He named this deep layer the collective unconscious. Imagine your mind is a small island, representing all of your personal memories, stories, and past traumas. Underneath this island lies a vast, invisible ocean. This dark ocean is shared by every human being who has ever lived, connecting us all together. Ancient myths and primordial archetypes exist in this ocean. These forces have existed for thousands of years, and they still live within you, shaping your life. The collective unconscious is a psychic reality. It appears in our dreams, our fantasies, our religions, and the movies that deeply move us emotionally. This is why different civilizations created similar myths. These stories of heroes, monsters, and journeys are not just inventions. They reflect the human soul's structure. Ignoring the collective unconscious is like ignoring gravity. You can pretend that it does not exist, but it will continue to pull you down. It will show up in your relationships and choices. You are not just fighting your own ghosts, but the ghosts of all of humanity throughout time. Inside this collective unconscious live invisible forces. Jung called these universal patterns archetypes, and they shape our behaviors, emotions, and our deepest thoughts. Among all the archetypes, there is one that is the most feared. It is also the most ignored, and therefore the most dangerous one of them all. This dangerous archetype lives within you right now. As long as you refuse to look at it, it will continue to control your life from the shadows. We will now talk about the shadow. This is the dark side of your personality that you constantly try to hide, but it is always watching you. Have you ever done something you deeply regretted? Have you ever exploded with anger and later couldn't explain why you reacted in such an extreme way? If so, you have already met your shadow. You just did not have the courage to look at it directly and acknowledge its powerful presence. Jung believed every person has a dark side. This is a rejected and repressed part of you, made up of things you don't want to admit. It includes your most shameful impulses and desires. Your weaknesses, cruelty, arrogance, vanity, and deepest fury all live there, hidden inside of your psyche. The more you try to repress this part of yourself, the stronger it becomes. The shadow contains everything you had to hide in order to be accepted. Here is the brutal truth about the shadow. Everything you do not face in your shadow begins to control your life from just beneath the surface. The shadow does not simply disappear. It cleverly disguises itself, and it often manifests in the harsh judgments that you make about other people. It appears in the anger that explodes for no reason. It is the inner voice that constantly tells you that you are just not good enough. The more you believe you are a good person, the more dangerous your shadow becomes. This is because you start to project your own darkness onto the world. You start to see evil only in others, never in yourself. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. As long as you pretend the shadow does not exist, you will be dominated by it. You will repeat the same patterns and sabotage your own best opportunities. But there is a way to confront this darkness. The goal is not to destroy it, but to integrate it into your conscious self. The shadow is not only about destruction. It also contains a very raw and powerful energy that, if harnessed correctly, can transform you completely. To do this, you must be willing to enter dangerous territory. You must face forgotten and suffocated parts of yourself that have been banished for years. The true process of self-knowledge begins with this confrontation. Jung gave this difficult and long, but necessary, process a specific name. He called it individuation. Most people spend their lives trying to fit in. They mold themselves to please others and meet social expectations, avoiding who they really are inside. But this creates a deep inner emptiness and discomfort. Jung called this feeling the absence of individuation, the lack of becoming a whole and authentic person. Individuation is not a cheap self-help trick. It is the brutal and profound process of becoming a whole human being, not just a better version. It involves confronting your shadow and integrating your internal opposites. You stop being just a mask, which Jung called the persona, to find your true self. To individuate is to die to what you thought you were. It is the collapse of the ego and the breaking of all your comforting illusions. You must accept that you are both light and darkness. You are strength and fragility, and you are courage and cowardice, all at the same time. This process hurts because you must let go of protective lies. It demands that you stop blaming other people and start taking full responsibility for your life. Individuation often reveals itself through life's crises, losses, and ruptures. When an old belief or identity dies, something new has the chance to be born. Most people prefer the comfort of ignorance and avoid this path. But those with the courage to face their inner darkness discover something priceless: true freedom. By integrating your rejected parts, you become what you were always meant to be. Your soul speaks all the time, but it does not use words. It uses symbols, images, stories, and dreams to communicate. If you can learn how to listen, you can uncover secrets that reason cannot access. While the modern world often dismisses dreams as random noise, Jung disagreed. For him, dreams are the very important and symbolic voice of the human psyche. They are not noise. They are coded, mysterious messages. When you sleep, something inside you awakens, and it begins to speak to you through images. Jung saw dreams as the unconscious mind's attempt to restore balance. When your conscious mind strays too far, the unconscious sends symbols to pull you back. Dreams are not just records of your day. They can be guidance, invitations, warnings, and sometimes even urgent alerts about your current life path. Why do you dream of falling when you feel a loss of control in your life? This is not a coincidence. It is the soul trying to communicate. The soul does not speak in a rational language. It speaks in symbols, and understanding this was one of Jung's greatest contributions to modern psychology. Snakes, houses, forests, and mirrors do not appear by chance. They represent parts of your psyche and are pieces of your soul trying to emerge. A house might represent your inner self, while a snake could indicate transformation. A mirror may reflect the shadow part of you that you avoid seeing. Learning this symbolic language is like learning the ancient language of your soul. The more we ignore the symbols in dreams, the further we drift from ourselves. When we lose connection with our inner compass, we become lost and anxious. Dreams are that compass, and ignoring them is like walking blindfolded through a maze. Have you ever felt like you are acting like someone else? Or have you noticed that you keep repeating the same patterns in your life? Jung knew why this happens. Invisible forces, which he called archetypes, live within you and are constantly staging the scenes and events of your life. Archetypes are universal structures of the human psyche. They are ancient, ancestral patterns that were born with you and reside in the collective unconscious. You can spend your entire life being guided by an archetype without ever realizing it. Jung identified several of them, including the powerful hero and the wise one. The shadow is an archetype representing what is repressed. The anima and animus represent the feminine in men and the masculine in women that need integration. These archetypes are not just simple ideas. They possess a real energy. When an archetype dominates your psyche, it can quite literally possess and control you. It takes control of your consciousness and drives your life without permission. This is why you sometimes act like a completely different person than you usually are. People who try to save everyone are often dominated by the hero archetype. Those who constantly seek approval may be trapped in the wounded child archetype. These archetypes are not your enemies. When they remain unconscious, they enslave you, but when they are recognized and integrated, they can empower you. You must become conscious and learn to identify these internal voices. Only then can you stop being just a character and become the author of your own story. Today, more than ever, we are bombarded by distractions. We live in a world that constantly pushes us outward, disconnecting us from our inner selves. This leads to a deep emptiness and a spiritual crisis. It often appears as stress, depression, or anxiety, which is why Jung's ideas are so relevant now. We live in the information age, yet we have never been so disoriented. Modernity promised us freedom, but instead, it delivered overwhelming anxiety and a sense of disconnection. Amidst all this noise, a silent question screams inside us. Who am I really? This is where Carl Jung's work becomes more necessary now than ever before. Jung did not offer easy formulas or sell happiness in pills. He offered something much more powerful, a difficult but rewarding path back to the soul. He foresaw how modern people would be consumed by their persona or social mask. We wear this mask to be accepted, admired, and promoted in our society. He knew that by ignoring the shadow, we become slaves to it. By rejecting our dreams, we cut the essential bridge to our own unconscious minds. People today feel empty, even when surrounded by great achievements. Relationships are becoming more and more superficial, fragile, and easily disposable in our modern world. The modern world sold us the illusion that we can live only on the surface. But the soul does not accept being ignored for very long. When the soul finally screams, it doesn't ask for likes on social media. It asks for meaning, for depth, and for the integration of our fragmented selves. Jung was a guide for times of collapse, like the times we live in now. When everything outside loses meaning, it becomes necessary to finally turn inward. You have spent your whole life trying to fit in and belong. You smiled when everything inside you was screaming for help, and you forgot who you were. Jung believed that nothing happens by chance. Even this message is a manifestation of your unconscious, trying to show you something important about your life. This is a call to stop running away and to stop lying to yourself. It is a call to abandon the surface and dive deep into your psyche. You don't need to understand everything right now, but you do need to take the very first step, which is the step of complete honesty with yourself.